Okay, so MN8 is multiplying polynomials. And in red, in yellow, we wrote multiply means add exponents. And exponents are the numbers on the top of the X. And add means you keep like terms. But we're going to do that not today. That's going to be more tomorrow. So we're mostly focusing on the first one. So you multiply the normal numbers in the front. They're called the coefficients. So you multiply the coefficient of 2 and the coefficient of 5. You multiply them to get 10. And then you add the exponents to get 7. And we're writing this part on each question to remind ourselves that when you're multiplying, you add exponents, because you have to remember this in August. And it's hard to remember. Okay, so I'm going to highlight this one kind of in blue. Y to the second and y to the seventh. So, oh, I forgot to write the answer for the x's though. So that's x to the 8th power. And then y, you add the exponents, and that's to the 9th power. So what's missing on this one? Something is missing on this one. Oh, Zyla just went out. Okay. That's true. The equals to is missing. And then what else is missing? That's true. The y is missing. There's a number missing. Yeah, the answer, true, is the sum. So that was kind of a hard question to ask you before I taught you how to do it. But when I look at this, I see that the 1 in front of x to the 8th is missing. So that was kind of a mysterious one. Okay, so what do you feel like the answer would be for this one? We'll put multiply, add exponents. So what do you guys feel like that one is? Um, so what do you think for this one? What's 5 times 1? What's 5 times 1? 5. Yep. And then x to what exponent? Because you're going to add the exponents. Yep. Okay. Okay, so what about this one? So now what's missing? Now it might be easier to tell what's missing. The 1. So let's put the 1 coefficient right here. And then what do we think the answer is? I'm telling Zyla that I'm also recording it on YouTube. I agree. So 9, no reason for the change in colors. So 9, you multiply the numbers, and then you add the exponents. Okay, so let me show you another one. Okay, so this one's going to be missing something else. I told Zyla to go on her phone. Yes, it's missing the exponent. So I have to decide, and we're going to write this to the right. Okay, when a coefficient is missing, put a, and then I'm going to change it over here to 1, like a 1 in red. So that will be x to the 4th is really 1 x to the 4th. And that's right, when an exponent is missing, but the letter is there, so like the x, where it says 5x, it's missing its exponent. Do any of you remember from last year, maybe, what number you would put in the exponent if it was missing? I'm changing to red to write it in. Let me go to the chat, see if any of you guys have answered me. Yes, it's a 1. So it's just like the coefficient in the front, you put 1 for the exponent. I find that when I don't put a 1 and it says add exponents, I get 4 because the exponent is missing, so it feels like 0. So this is still multiply, add exponents. So you still want to write that. Oh, I forgot to write that on this one. Multiply, add exponents. Okay. It seems kind of lame to write it over and over and over again, but just think, when you're learning vocabulary words, sometimes that's the best way to get the spelling, in your head. And the same thing is to get this memorized. Multiply, add exponents. Multiply, add exponents. If we could just get those two concepts in our head, then it would really help. Okay, what's the answer to this one then? Oh, okay, I agree with your x to the 5th. Oh, sorry, that was the last one. Okay, so x to the 5th I agree with. And then what did he put for the number in the front? Hold on, let me see. I think he wrote it, but it's not scrolling down. Yeah, so you multiply the 5 and the 6. So it is 30. And then technically the 30 is by itself. The 30 is not to the 5th. But usually people kind of write them next. 30x to the 5th. Okay, any questions so far? Okay, so what do we need to put in this one in red? Yes, I agree, friends. So this would be a 1 in the front and a 1 in the exponent. And I do want you to write that in your homework tonight or today that you're going to be doing. Okay, so what's the answer to this one? Yep. Cool. Okay. Okay, any missing exponents or missing coefficients? We should always put those in first. Is anybody missing their exponent or missing their front number, which is called a coefficient? Okay, so we have -4. I agree, kind of. Let me show you how I look at all of these. Watch where my red dots go. I look at this as a 2 and then an x squared, and then a y cubed, and then a -4, and then an x, and then a y to the 9th. So my letters are the ones that need variables. I mean, need exponents. So one of my letters is missing the exponent. So actually, we should write that over here on the right. When an exponent, it is missing what I write here, but the exponent missing is on the letter. Yeah, I think I didn't explain it very well here. So which letter? X squared at y cubed, x, or y to the 9th? Which one's missing its exponent? Yeah, x is missing the 1. And that's why, you guys, I'm asking you questions, because I want to make sure I'm not going too fast. Because, and that's why we're also using the different colors. Okay, not to speed, but to make sure that you understand that it didn't used to be there and now it's there. Okay. Now, when you're multiplying 2 times -4, because you are supposed to multiply the regular numbers, those are opposite signs. So multiplying and dividing with opposite signs gives you a positive or a negative. What if you have opposite signs and you're multiplying? Yes, negative. So this is -8, and that's because opposite signs when you're multiplying is negative. Okay, x. Now, I'm going to write my message, or I forgot to write it on this one. Multiply is add exponents. And this one, multiply, add exponents. So you want to write that on each of your problems, because you're trying to get it in your brain permanently. We're trying to put it in the permanent part of your brain. If you just try to remember it once, it won't stay in the permanent part of your brain. Okay, so how many x's do you have altogether? Not how many x's, but when you add the exponents, what's your exponent on the x? No, not 6. Good try. So look at your x's. Just the x's. So don't look at the y's. Just look at the x's. Yes, 3, exactly. Exactly. And you guys, it's confusing. Okay? It's confusing. So you add the 2 plus the 1, and that's how you get the 3. This is the first time we've seen this. This is a new chapter from our equations. Okay, and then now let me maybe highlight them. Let me highlight the y's in that color highlighter, and let me highlight these in x's. What do you think? How's that help? Maybe just highlighting the exponents will help you see them better. Okay, so what would be the new y exponent? Yes, exactly. Mm-hmm. So are there any exponents we need to put in red? Yeah, you guys still can't get in. Any missing exponents? So think of it as the 6 The -6 is separate from the x is separate from the y to the 5th, the -4 is separate from the x, and the x is separate from the y. They're kind of held together by multiplication glue, but they are separate, not in the like terms separate sense, but in the I deal with the coefficients first, then I deal with the x's, then I deal with the y's. Okay, so who's missing an exponent? So the exponents can only be missing on the letters, not the numbers, because we don't really like to have numbers with exponents. It's possible, we just don't like it. Okay, so one person said the x to the left, the x on the right one. Exactly, Thelma, and the last y. Exactly. Both x's and the y. Okay, so 6 times 4 is 12 and 12. So what's 6 times 4? Does anybody know? So that's 24. Let's ask ourselves about the sign. Is the sign plus or minus on his 24? Plus, I agree. I usually put the plus so that I remember that I asked my brain, is it positive or negative? Because sometimes you forget to ask yourself and then you get the wrong answer. Now, over to the right, -6 minus 4 is -10. And -6 times -4 is positive 24. It's very weird for our brains to think that down, down is more down. But when you're multiplying, it's same signs is a plus. And that's because there's 2 different rules. So writing this on the side of your paper every once in a while will clear it up in your brain, because you'll be thinking, oh, 2 negatives make a positive. Well, sometimes it does and sometimes it doesn't. And the reason is sometimes it's multiplication and then sometimes it's adding or subtracting. Okay, and adding and subtracting, you can do the stairs. Okay. And then what do you guys think the answer is for example 8? Okay, so what's the answer for number 8, example 8? X to the second. I agree, because we added the exponents, and y to the 6th. I agree. How are we doing? Questions so far? Okay, any missing exponents? Okay. And when you're missing an exponent, you put the ones in, okay? And make sure you show me those ones in your homework, in your red pen, or if you're writing homework, you don't have to use red pen. You can put them in the color that you're writing in. Okay, multiply, add exponents. Okay, but I need a coefficient actually. I'm also missing a coefficient. Which one needs a 1? The one I'm talking about is the one in the front. This one. Yeah, 1x squared y to the first z to the third. And you guys remember, making mistakes makes you learn. So it's absolutely no problem to make an error. It's worse to not be answering. Okay, so some of you aren't typing. Some of you are just doing the answering in your head. It's very important that you have a guess before I put the right answer up. So you can see if you're doing it right or wrong. Okay. So what's 1 times -3? Okay, I agree. So this will be -3. And then when you add the exponents on the x's, what do we get? Three. And then look at the y's. So we're going to look at the y exponents. What do you think about the y exponents? 2? I agree. Sorry for the change of colors. No reason for the change of colors. Oh, except that I was writing in red, which was weird. And then, what do you feel like was the 2 with the line striking? Is it still there? Wait, is the 2 with the line? I don't see a 2. Oh, yes, that's a Z. Oh, I'm sorry. Oh, I'm so glad you guys are. I was like, what? Okay, so let me write this to the side. So, you know how some people write 2's like this? It kind of looks like a Z. So I try to make my 2's curvy. And then my Z, I put a line in it. So that's a Z. I don't know how to spell Z, but we'll put Z-E-E. And then this is a number. Okay, so Z. Oh, sorry, what exponent was on the Y? I think you guys told me I didn't. Did I write it? Yeah, you said 2. Okay. And then Z, what do you think? If I add 3 to nothing, because there's no other Z's. What do you think? Uh-huh. You feel like you guys got the hang of it? Okay. So we know Jeremy does. What about the rest of you? So the question is, are you ready for homework? Because what I would like to do the rest of the period is homework and then some corrections, because you have to correct homeworks 14 and 15. So I'd like you to do the homework on this one and then 14 and 15 corrections. You would do this one first because I'm almost done with 14 and 15, like, you know, where you show your work. I almost did them all. Okay, so far only Brandon, Jeremy, and Carissa understand it. I need 10 readies or yeses, which is ready to do the homework. Okay, so now I have 4. So I need all 10 of you, okay? So the yeses are you ready for the homework number 26? Or do you have any more questions before you do this homework? Okay. And that's good. Gabriel, good job asking for what the yes was for without just randomly putting yes because everybody else put yes. 6. Okay, I have 8. I need 2 more people. I think Zyla's not on. So I'm missing 1 person. But I don't know who it is. If you guys can figure out who it is, we could say, okay, yes for you. Okay, so this was homework 25. Okay, just checking. So this is homework 26. Okay, so remember, write this on a separate sheet of paper. Okay, and what you're going to do, I'll write a little note on the side. You're going to do, this is in order. Okay, you're going to do homework 26. You're going to upload it. You're going to upload, so this is like step 1. Step 2 is you're going to upload Math Notes 8. The reason you're not uploading Math Notes 8 right now is because I haven't put Math Notes 8 a spot for it in the classwork. Next, you're going to do corrections on homework 14. And you're going to do corrections on homework 15. Okay? And then tonight's homework again is at 5 p.m. You get a bonus point if you check your email from 5 to 6 p.m. You're going to check your email. Okay? And then you're going to also check your to-do list. What else? Make sure you've done Math Note 7 and homework 25 also. I'll put from earlier. Okay, so as you're doing these questions, you can kind of look back and make sure that you know that you have to do all that stuff if you haven't uploaded it yet. Okay, so using notes. Okay. Oh, and then I wanted to write show missing exponents and coefficients in red pen or the color you're writing with. And you do have to write the questions. Oh, and you also have to write, what else do you have to write on all? You have to write multiply, arrow, add exponents. Okay, so you also have to write this on each question. You don't have to decide though, you just have to write that exact thing on every question. Okay, and you're missing exponents and coefficients. The number 1 doesn't have any missing exponents or coefficients. But So I'm just going to put 8 of these because I know you have other assignments to go back and do corrections on. Okay, so there's your questions. There's your instructions. And you are ready for homework 26. I'll take a picture with my phone so that this will stay and you guys can keep working on it, okay? And then I'll upload it so that when my tablet goes out, you'll still be able to see it. So the only work you show is the ones in red, and then you write multiply, arrow, add exponents on every single question. Then you guys, I'm going to turn off the sound because you know what you're doing.